neutralized. Vital signs critical. Rogue eco mine detected. Vital signs critical. Rogue explosive seeker mine detected. Hostile explosive seeker mine detected. An agent needs assistance. Rogue agent neutralized. An agent needs assistance. Rogue agent eliminated. Rogue defender drone detected. Hostile defender nearby. Rogue agent killed.
Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today I am back with another build video, and this one should be pretty fun because what I want to do is give you all an updated look at what has been my favorite PvP build for well over a year now. I've been using this a lot in some of my recent gameplay and background footage, and I've been getting a lot of questions about what the build is that I'm using, and while I did do a video on this close to a year ago, I would say, I have changed some things since then. Over the course of year 4, we got some new items, I tried some new things out, and I've struck a new balance that I think is the best version of this build I've ever had. And as I said, it's remained my favorite build for PvP across all of that time. I would say that speaks to its effectiveness and viability. It's super fun, so I think you will enjoy it. Let's get into the breakdown. And here is the build. Now, I just want to give a quick disclaimer off the start and say that, you hear often the trope from people saying like, oh, well, YouTubers just show off like maxed out builds and it's unattainable stuff. Yes, this build is completely maxed out in pretty much every sense of the word. I have invested the most amount of optimization and expertise, time, and materials into this build because, like I said, it is my favorite PvP build, and PvP is my favorite thing to do in this game. However, I don't want to let that discourage you and think that this build is somehow unattainable for you to collect. If you like the kind of playstyle that you saw in the gameplay or that these different talents promote, then hopefully seeing the amount of power that can be attained by upgrading those different things can give you some motivation to want to go out and pursue it, because it is totally achievable and the end result is super awesome. But let's get into this, and I do want to point out some of the changes that I made from that old version as we go through here. So starting out with my primary, I have the Eagle Bear. If you've been watching me for a while, this should be no surprise. This is my favorite gun in the game. And at this point, I basically just baked in the Eagle Bear's handling and mag size and everything into just how I play the game, so it's very instinctual for me to use it. I enjoy it a lot, but I know a lot of you don't have it, or you just don't even enjoy it that much, and if so, that's totally fine. Swap it out for one of the best high-end ARs, which I always say are the FAMAS, Carbine 7, Police M4, Honey Badger. Any of those 4 are going to do you very well, so use those as you like. For my secondary, totally up to you. I enjoy the apartment. It gives me a good amount of flexibility and variety compared to the EB, when I need it in combat, so that's what I use on there. And then for the pistol, I just have the Orbit like on many of my builds. Let's take a look at the crit values just so you have an idea of what we're running here. On the Eagle Bear, I have 50% crit chance and 132% crit damage. Overall, these crit values are a bit lower than what they were in the build version last year that you might have seen, but there's good reason for that, and we'll get to that as we go through. But overall, this is a very nice distribution, and I'm happy with the amount of damage that puts out. On the gear, we have the Catharsis Exotic Mask. Again, not a huge surprise. Love this thing for PvP. It gives you awesome protection in PvP against those status builds that are so prevalent and so powerful. And it's just a great way to build up damage. You get more damage. The more damage you take, It's just a great combo. On here I have all the rolls that it comes with, including a crit chance mod. For the chest piece, we have one piece of Fenris to get the 10% AR damage, and on here we have armor, crit damage, crit chance at crit damage mod, and unbreakable. With the amount of damage that you're getting from other places, I definitely do recommend Unbreakable so that you have a bit of survivability and longevity in those fights, but obviously try out what you want to try out there. For the holster, this is the first major change. In the old version, I had a Sombra holster to get an extra 15% crit damage, but after Season 10 and after we got the Picaros, I tried it out, and this ended up getting me more damage. Even though you're losing that net amount of crit damage from the brand bonus on Sombra, the extra weapon damage you're picking up here makes up for it and exceeds it in terms of how much total damage output you're dishing out. So just get one that has armor, crit damage, and weapon damage. Obviously it comes with the weapon damage, and you're set. It's going to be giving you more damage, again, from my testing, and it's been really great so far since I've used it, so I definitely recommend. For the backpack, we have one of our two pieces of Walker and Harris, which gives us 5% weapon damage and 5% damage to armor. On here we have weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, a crit chance mod, and companion. Companion is super great, works really well with this build, and with the two different skills that we're using that help proc it, they just work into the playstyle very well, and they give you a lot more versatility than I think some of the other types of combos in the game do and in PvP. So Companion is super strong, and it's how it helps us ramp up so much damage that this build is able to put out. On the gloves here, this is the other major change from the setup last year, and that is the fact that I used to run Contractors here with armor, but by putting on Walker, and this I think is pretty well accepted across the community, is running two-piece Walker and Harris. If you are building into crit chance and crit damage, you get more benefit by running two Walker. And the reason is that even though you are losing 3% total damage to armor, from the 5% of the brain bonus versus the 8% on Contractors, you're getting an extra crit roll. And because, again, we are building for crit on this build, it ends up being more total damage output, and I very much enjoyed running this over the Contractors. Additionally, I used to run 5 blues and just 1 red on this build, but with the addition of Picaros, we get the 15% there, and by switching this one from a blue to a red, the total amount of damage output has just spiked like crazy, and you can definitely feel it when you run it. So of course, try out whatever distribution feels right to you, but on here, I have weapon damage, crit chance, and crit damage, and it feels really great to me. And last up, of course, we have the Fox's Superior knee pads, which gives us that damage to targets out of cover value, and then on top of that, we have armor and crit damage there. For the two skills, and this matters at least a little bit more than skills on your normal PvP build, we have two that can very much help us proc Companion, because that's what this is all about, is getting that pretty much 100% uptime on the Companion talent. Firstly, we have the Defender Drone. This is a great pick in PvP because you get that flat 11.7% damage reduction, at least on my setup, and so who doesn't like, free damage reduction? Typically, I try and reserve this for when I'm about to go into a fight, because obviously it doesn't have the longest amount of duration, only 24 seconds, so you want to make sure you're taking full advantage of that uptime. But then for the additional times, we have the Explosive Seeker Mine. Now this has, where does it say right here, the duration? I guess it doesn't say it on here for whatever reason, unless it's down here. But this thing lasts for, I would say, 2 minutes if you're not using it, and it follows you around. So it's a constant proc on Companion. But if you don't need that, you can also just send it at somebody, and it deals a decent little chunk of damage, 229,000. You can see right there when it explodes. And it will knock people out of cover. It will do all these nice little interactions that can really help you out in PvP. Even though it seems like it wouldn't be that influential, it can be that extra little nudge that you need in a fight to take the win. And so it's a super nice thing, both for Companion, but just to have for that extra flexibility as well. So I cannot recommend the Explosive Seeker Mine enough. Those two skills together work really well on this setup for me. Again, tailor it to your own playstyle. And lastly, for the specialization, we of course have the Firewall, which this is purely because of the great medkit that you receive from it. There is no better option in PvP. If you want to try something else, obviously be my guest, but I have not found anything that works to my playstyle as well as the Firewall medkit, and so you best believe I'm running it on this build. And that is the build, everybody. Very much hope you enjoyed. As I said, favorite build for a long time, and it's clear why. It's super versatile, it's super strong, and it just has that edge that you need in the Dark Zone, and sometimes in Conflict, but primarily in the DZ to get that extra advantage over people, and it is just a ton of fun. I love it. If you haven't already, a like would be incredibly appreciated on the video, and be sure to click that subscribe button as well as turning on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my future build videos, especially as we get close to year 5 here with the new amount of gear that's coming. You're not going to want to miss it. Let me know your thoughts on this build though. If you have any questions, comments, different things you would change up for your own playstyle, would love to hear it down below. And if you want to stay connected, be sure to check out those Twitter and Discord links in the description. That's going to do it for me today though, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Out.